daughters of Cain with whom the angels sinned, conceived, but they were unable to bring forth children, and they died. Of the children who were in their wombs, some died, and some did come forth by splitting open the bellies of their mothers. They came forth by their navels, and when they were grown up, they became giants. Kebra Nagast.
The giants created all of the wars and the technology of the wars with this knowledge that merged with the seven sciences, and that the violence is imposed on the world, not only on humans, but also against themselves.
After months of deep research into ancient texts and forbidden knowledge, I thought I had seen it all, but Gary Wayne's The Genesis 6 Conspiracy, how secret societies and descendants of giants plan to enslave humankind, left me utterly stunned. In this video, we will dive into the first 5 chapters of this groundbreaking book, uncovering secrets that challenge mainstream narratives. Have you heard of the snake-like Nephilim or the mysterious daughters of Cain? Are angels capable of sexual relations? These revelations have shifted my understanding of humanity's hidden past. This isn't just another theory. It's information that could change everything you think you know. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Wayne's book is a meticulous investigation that goes well over 6,000 years of history of humankind, beginning with Adam and spanning the corridors of history. While modern theologians and academics have occasionally touched upon the anomalies discussed here, Wayne dives into the mysteries often ignored due to their extraordinary implications. According to Wayne, much of this arcane knowledge has been safeguarded by institutions like the Vatican, which some believe houses the world's largest occult library, a rival even to Freemasonry's own. This book, however, does not shy away from these revelations. It boldly claims to uncover the literal truth as it was, as it is, and as it will be. At the heart of this book lies a central and enigmatic theme, the Nephilim, introduced in Genesis 6 of the Bible. The Nephilim are described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men, famously referred to as heroes of old, men of renown, in Genesis 6:4. But who or what were they? Were they giants towering over humanity? Perhaps demigods with supernatural abilities? Or could they have been alien hybrids, as some theories suggest? Gary Wayne takes us on a journey to explore these possibilities in great detail. To truly understand the story of the Nephilim, we must first explore a significant element that Gary Wayne discusses, the daughters of Cain and their role in humanity's downfall. Wayne explores this idea by referencing historical sources like Josephus, a Jewish historian. Josephus recorded that Adam and Eve had 33 sons and 23 daughters, even though the Bible only mentions other sons and daughters. This leads to speculation about who Cain's wife was. Some theologians argue that Cain's wife must have been one of Adam's daughters, since no other types of humans existed at the time. However, the Bible doesn't explicitly say this, leaving room for debate. According to Wayne, Cain's descendants are often seen as the source of violence and corruption in the pre-flood world. While Genesis records Cain murdering Abel, it doesn't directly say that Cain's family line carried forward this evil. However, the New Testament hints at this idea, describing Cain as belonging to Satan because of his murder. From this, some interpretations suggest that his descendants inherited a legacy of wickedness. An important theory Wayne examines is the connection between Cain's descendants and the Nephilim, a race of giants mentioned in Genesis. While the Bible doesn't explicitly state that Cain's descendants were involved in the creation of the Nephilim, this idea has become popular in Christian theology. It suggests that the daughters of Cain described as being easily led into sinful behavior, may have had unholy unions with the sons of God, leading to the rise of the Nephilim. Wayne also draws from other sources like the Kebra Nagast, an Ethiopian religious text which uses the term daughters of Cain instead of the Bible's phrase daughters of men. This change implies a more negative view of Cain's descendants. The book describes these daughters as being prone to indulgence and sinful behavior, adding a darker twist to the story. Andrew Collins, a researcher, supports this view, suggesting that the daughters of Cain played a significant role in the downfall of humanity through their actions, as they could have been easily manipulated due to their already evil ways. Gary Waynes dives deep into one of the most intriguing topics, the identity of the sons of God. Were they angels or the sons of Seth? Wayne begins by directing readers to several passages in the book of Job. For example, in Job 1:6 and 2:1, which reads, "One day the angels," the term angels is the Hebrew phrase for sons of God, "came to present themselves before the Lord." Here, the term sons of God is clearly used to describe angels who are in the presence of God. This point is further clarified in many Bible translations, such as the New International Version, which provides a footnote indicating that angel and sons of God are interchangeable terms. Wayne also highlights another reference in Job that reinforces his interpretation. Job describes the sons of God, or angels, rejoicing and shouting for joy at the creation of the universe. This imagery paints a picture of heavenly beings who were present at the foundation of the world, underscoring their unique identity as distinct from humanity. Through these references, Wayne establishes a scriptural foundation to challenge the Sethite interpretation, offering a compelling argument that the sons of God in Genesis 6 are not human but angelic beings. Wayne then introduces one of the book's most fascinating claims, that these sons of God were fallen angels who descended to earth and took human women as wives. This union, as described in the Book of Enoch and other ancient texts, led to the birth of the Nephilim, giants who became the heroes and legends of the ancient world. Enoch vividly recounts how these angels violated divine law by marrying human women and fathering children, not of the spirit, but of the flesh. Similarly, the second book of Enoch describes the Grigori, giant fallen angels who also mated with human women. He argues that this doctrine, though dismissed or ignored by much of modern Christianity, was well known in ancient times. A common objection to this idea is the question of whether angels can engage in sexual relations with humans. Some argue that angels, being spiritual beings, are not capable of such acts. Wayne addresses this by pointing to Genesis 6 itself, which clearly describes angels taking human wives and fathering offspring. He also references 1 Corinthians 11:10, which reads, "For man did not come from woman, but woman from man. Neither was man created for woman, but woman for man." For this reason, and because of angels, the woman ought to have a sign of authority on her head. Here, Paul warns that women should wear a sign of authority or cover their heads because of the angels. He also notes that early church fathers like Tertullianus, 160 to 230 CE, seemingly concurred when he noted that Paul instructed women ought to wear veils so as to not entice angels. For dark angels love unveiled women with their beautiful hair. Wayne notes that while the Bible does not explicitly confirm that angels have sexual capabilities, it also does not deny the possibility. He argues that the lack of marriage in heaven, as mentioned in Matthew, does not preclude angels from engaging in sexual acts on earth. This idea is further supported by the Zohar, a key text in Kabbalistic tradition, which describes angels as changelings capable of transforming into male or female forms in the physical realm. The Book of Jude provides additional evidence linking the sexual immorality of fallen angels in Noah's time to the perversion of Sodom and Gomorrah. Wayne quotes Jude, which reads, "The angels who did not keep their positions of authority, but abandoned their own home, these he kept in darkness, bound with everlasting chains for judgment on the great day." In a similar way, Sodom, Gomorrah, and the surrounding towns gave themselves up to sexual immorality and perversion. Jude 1:6-7. Here, Jude is linking sexual perversion of angels during the time of Noah with another form of sexual perversion in Sodom and Gomorrah, and possibly a second post-Diluvian violation against creation. This passage, echoing Enochian scripture, cannot be interpreted any other way. Angels most certainly do and did have sexual capabilities. Wayne also refers to Kebra Nagast, which reads, "Daughters of Cain, with whom the angels sinned, conceived, but they were unable to bring forth children, and they died. Of the children who were in their wombs, some died, and some did come forth by splitting open the bellies of their mothers. They came forth by their navels, and when they were grown up, they became giants." Wayne elaborates on this grim narrative, suggesting that all the Nephilim mothers perished because their human physiology could not withstand the unnatural births of such monstrous offspring. He points out that many of the Nephilim infants also died at birth, with only a few surviving due to what he describes as a barbaric form of caesarean delivery. This brutal procedure, he notes, likely involved a desperate and tragic butchery of the mothers in order to save the demigod infants. The point, of course, is that the Kebra Nagast also testifies to the fact that angels can be sexual beings if they choose. He also highlights non-biblical accounts from various ancient civilizations that echo similar stories and conclusions about the existence of giants. He notes that these beings were not exclusive to the Bible, but were renowned across cultures like the Egyptians, Romans, Greeks, Phoenicians, and other Mesopotamian societies. In these primeval cultures, myths are filled with tales of extraordinary heroes, figures of great size and unmatched strength. These legendary beings, often considered superheroes of their time, are consistently tied to the idea of a union between gods and humans. Wayne points to famous figures like Hercules, Theseus, Jason, Cadmus, and Perseus. These mythological heroes, celebrated for their incredible strength and bravery, are described as the offspring of immortal gods and mortal women. Intriguingly, many of these heroes were also known as dragon slayers, a detail that ties into the larger narrative of spiritual battles and supernatural forces. But one of Wayne's most thought-provoking connections is to the myth of Atlantis. According to legend, Atlantis was ruled by 10 kings who were the children of Poseidon, the Greek god of sea and human women. Wayne suggests that this story isn't just a myth, but has deeper implications. He theorizes that secret societies like Freemasonry are working to revive the Atlantean model of governance, a system where fallen angels openly interacted with humanity. This, he argues, is a central theme of the Genesis 6 conspiracy and reflects the enduring influence of these ancient tales in modern secret societies. He notes that one can easily understand the depth of God's anger when he chose to punish and imprison the fallen angels who sought to disrupt the natural order of creation. Their actions defied the divine process meant for humankind, a process where mortal life serves as a journey toward immortality. The gravity of their rebellion is captured vividly in the Book of Enoch, which states, "And now, giants, offspring of spirit and flesh, will be called spirits on earth, and the earth shall be their dwelling. Their bodies emitted evil spirits, because they were born from human women and holy watchers." Here he explains that these bodiless spirits, the remnants of the Nephilim, are the same malicious entities that the New Testament refers to as demons. They are the agents of destruction, sowing confusion and havoc in the world. Their origins explain their relentless hostility toward humanity as they operate in opposition to God's order and His creation. Wayne also delves deep on the Nephilim's appearance, which he pieces together from biblical accounts, historical records, and archaeological evidence. Wayne delves deep into the origins of the Anak, a race of giants whose name translates to long-necked. This term alone evokes an otherworldly image, but Wayne takes it further by referencing descriptions that their necks were so long that they seemed to touch the sun, earning them comparisons to serpents. The Bible's mention of Zamzumites, a race of giants that lived in the area east of Jordan River, which is translated as noisemakers, which likely accounts for Josephus accounting Nephilim as fearsome to the hearing. He quotes author Frank Joseph, who describes the godlike giants having voices like Atlas's when he bellowed from the depths of his mountain. Nephilim were believed to have a frightening, snake-like appearance, just as Josephus and others have stated. To be specific, Josephus described the Anak as a famous race of giants that were of such tremendous size and that their countenance was so completely different compared to humans that the Anak were extraordinarily surprising, frightening, and terrible to both the senses of sight and hearing. Wayne explains that the Nephilim mirrored their fathers in both nature and appearance. The Watchers, who descended from the heavens, are identified as seraphim angels. These angels, according to Wayne, possess serpent-like features and serve as a bridge between heaven and earth. Wayne further explores the idea that Satan himself assumed the form of a seraph when he deceived Eve in the Garden of Eden. This portrayal is not unique to biblical accounts, but is also echoed in other ancient texts. For instance, the Gnostic Gospel, The Origin of the World, describes serpent-like angels with strikingly distinct features. These beings had long and narrow faces, prominent cheekbones, elongated jaws, thin lips, and slanted eyes. Features that, as Wayne suggests, bear a resemblance to modern depictions of aliens. The book also connects the imagery of serpents to real-world symbols and archaeological findings in fascinating ways. For example, long-headed skulls, which date back to the antediluvian era, have been discovered in regions like Sumer and Egypt. These findings appear to support the idea of the Nephilim having elongated serpent-like heads. Wayne further highlights the prominence of the cobra in Egyptian culture, pointing out how it was often depicted on royal crowns as early as 4000 BCE. He suggests that this iconic symbol might serve as a nod to these ancient beings and their influence on early civilizations. Wayne points out that post-Diluvian Nephilim are also captured in Canaanite art, which clearly portrays beings with long serpentine necks, heads like cobras, small mouths, and coffee bean eyes. Again, he states similar images of serpentine beings have been found in ancient monuments from both Egypt and Central America, which ostensibly date back to the antediluvian epoch. These sculptures appear to be images of long-necked and sloped-headed Anakites. According to Wayne, the Nephilim were a race of colossal giants, towering beings with incredible size, strength, and agility. They were fearsome hunters, known for their insatiable appetites, both in the literal and metaphorical sense. These giants were not just physically intimidating, but also spiritually corrupt. embodying traits that set them apart from humanity in unsettling ways. He further explores how the Nephilim did not exist in isolation. They actively influenced and partnered with misguided humans, forming alliances that would have profound consequences. Together, they established secretive organizations referred to as snake brotherhoods. These brotherhoods were deeply rooted in corruption and manipulation, eventually overthrowing the governments of the antediluvian world. Through these alliances, the Nephilim exerted their control, spreading their influence far and wide and shaping the course of humanity in destructive ways. Wayne also informs us of the 7 liberal sciences that God taught Adam in the Garden of Eden. These sciences were profoundly valuable because they contained the secrets of the universe. According to Wayne, this knowledge was entrusted to humanity so they could understand and govern the world, provided they used it wisely and for good. Wayne delves into the 7 liberal sciences, as outlined in the Dowland manuscript of the Legend of the Craft, each representing a foundational pillar of human understanding and capability. Grammaire is the science of proper speech and writing, emphasizing clarity and precision in communication. Rhetorica elevates this skill to the art of refined and persuasive speech, empowering individuals to craft compelling arguments and influence others effectively. Dialectic sharpens the mind with the ability to discern truth from falsehood. Arithmetic focuses on numbers and calculations, forming the backbone of logical and scientific reasoning. Geometry, also known as the science of masonry, teaches the principles of measuring the earth and constructing physical structures. Music explores the profound power of music, its ability to transcend language, evoke emotions, and shape cultures and spirituality. Lastly, astronomy reveals the intricate movements of stars and planets, inviting humanity to understand the cosmos and its mysteries. Wayne explains that after being banished from Eden, Adam retained the knowledge of the sacred sciences, divinely inspired knowledge that he had received from God. Adam continued to practice these sciences in a righteous manner, ensuring that they were preserved for good purposes. It was crucial to preserve this divine knowledge, so Adam passed it on to his descendants, trusting that it would be used for good. He taught the sacred sciences to his sons, Cain and Seth, but this led to a split of how it was used, as they each used it differently. This divergence is referred to as the schism of Freemasonry, and resulted in 2 distinct branches of practice. Seth's descendants upheld and applied the sacred sciences in their original pure form for 7 generations. They used this divine knowledge righteously and remained aligned with God's will. On the other hand, Cain's descendants took a different path. They corrupted the sacred sciences by blending them with idolatry and mysticism, using the knowledge for selfish and wicked purposes. Wayne references George Oliver, a writer on Freemasonry, who offers a theory to describe this divide. He identifies Seth's lineage as practicing what is called the pure form of Masonry, one rooted in righteousness and alignment with God. Cain's lineage, however, is said to have practiced a spurious or false version of Masonry, which was marked by corruption, misuse, and evil intentions. Cain's descendants continued to misuse the sacred sciences over the generations, and this corrupted form of Masonry persisted up until the time of the Great Flood. While it outwardly imitated the practices of Seth's line, it was fundamentally different. It was built on selfishness, wickedness, and the manipulation of divine knowledge for malevolent purposes. To be continued. Stay tuned for Part 2, where we will explore more of Gary Wayne's revelations. Until then, let me know your thoughts. Are you convinced, intrigued, or skeptical?